Going down, everybody? It's your boy, that guy, my high, tuning back in for another reaction. And this time we got the top 10 bizarre things you will only see once in your life. What that is, I have no idea. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. I saw that title, I was like, interesting. Wonder what people have seen besides, like, and I'm hoping that it's not just a bunch of weird stuff like the mermaid one where it was like, we saw mermaids. Like, nah, I'm done with that shit. Anyways, let's do this, man. Record the screen, hit that full screen, and let's jump into this and see what they talk about. All right? Because I don't know. Let's go.
Odd fashion trends, space anomalies, and some dark history. We've got
all right, I'm with that.
Welcome back to Most Amazing. Here are the
sounds
top
way
10
better
bizarre things
than mermaids.
You'll only see once in your life. Honestly, these are pretty wild. I hope we never see some of these again. Number 10, phone booth stuffing. This list is absolutely wild. I had to start with perhaps my favorite historical event of all times. Phone booth stuffing. It's exactly what it sounds like. This kicked off around the late 1950s. People decided, out of nowhere it seems, to see how many people could fit in a phone booth. Just, just get them in, those tiny little, that's it. The methods here, I mean, honestly,
like, what do you mean?
Creative. Stacking horizontally was the key, apparently. As long as your head was in the booth, you were golden. The world record was set in 1959.
Wow.
25 people in South Africa squeezed into one booth. If you're watching this, laughing right now, maybe you're thinking, why would anybody ever do this? Yeah.
Bruh, look at old boy. He got his nuts and everything on the back of his neck and shit. Like, no, player. I'm good, bro. Oh boy, look like he got his fucking head tucked in his ass and shit. Like, what is going on? Like, I'm good, bro. Count me out. Count me out.
Have you ever taken part in a mannequin challenge as well? Take those chuckles back, because we do some pretty stupid stuff now, right? 25 people in a phone booth. That is raw talent. They didn't have TikTok back then either. They did this because they felt like it. You know what I mean?
Look. Face and ass. Like, and how many more people got their face in somebody's ass in this situation? Like, I'm good. Look, he got feet in his face and shit. Like, nah, I'm good, bro. This
now we just do it for
weird.
Fun. No one ever planks just because they want to plank. It's always for the vine. Do it for the vine. Number 9, a really long party. Back in 1520, King Henry VIII of England and Francis I of France had a little meeting. And when I say little, I mean, well, you'll see. We've all been to a business lunch or two. Maybe you have one drink, the ideas start to flow, so you're like, you know what, we'll get another drink, whatever. Now you're riding a wave, good ideas are coming out, you're feeling good as a unit, and the next thing you know, you're buzzing. You're not feeling too great. You're a little bit dizzy. Well, this was like one of those meetings, but they kept drinking for 2.5 weeks. Both sides attended this meeting with one goal.
Well, I guess when you don't want to have to deal with the hangover, you just drink a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? You just never actually come down and deal with the problem at the, the ass end of the situation. Just stay drunk. Yeah, I guess there was,
Be hard. And they did it. Oh, they did it all right. They planned on this party being a historical one. A temporary palace was constructed before the meeting. It was like a party house meant for just this party, alongside 2 fountains. One was flowing with wine and the other was flowing with beer. So just, grab your hands, pick a fountain, pick your poison. Also, take your jacket off because you're staying a while. Hope you have some bread. Number 8.
That is nuts. Could you imagine partying for 2 weeks straight, though? Could you do it? That is my question to you. Could you do it? I know I couldn't do it. I wouldn't have lasted the first day, like, let alone 2 goddamn weeks. Goddamn.
To use deadly nightshade to poison their enemies, and during the Victorian age, women would apply nightshade to their eyes. Yeah, let's hope we don't see this in the cosmetic game ever again. The pupils would become larger after nightshade was applied. That was the whole idea, I guess, because bigger pupils meant that you were attractive. Sure, like, good evening, madam. May I have this dance? Like, okay, sure. Back in the Victorian era, the pale look, the red lips, beauty marks, you were trying to resemble a literal queen. So women in the 1800s would either make their own compound themselves or find deadly nightshade berries and then just improvise. Yeah, it didn't end too well. For the red lips, pre-Kylie days, the main ingredient in Victorian times for red lipstick was crushed up insects, which already can cause allergic reactions when applied directly to your lips. But the ammonia mixed in really put the nail in the coffin in that case. Deadly nightshade, ammonia, and crushed insects. What am I, Oogie Boogie? This is awful.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Number 7.
That sounds terrible.
I had to include the tale of the woman who ate
bad hair
her own
day.
hair. Why did she do it? What's going on here? How much hair did she...
Oh! What? Bitch, you a cat? You over here licking yourself and getting fur balls and shit? Like, what kind of weird ass? What?
I have so many questions. The Liverpool Daily Post back in 1869 got the attention of passerbyers with this one. A 30-year-old passed away in the village of Lincolnshire, and that's not too far off from average life expectancy back in the 1800s, you know, with the poison cosmetics and all. But this case, this was odd, obviously. Doctors asked the family if they could carry out a post-mortem, and lo and behold, a 2-pound solid chunk of hair was just sitting in her stomach. It caused ulcerations of the stomach and ultimately caused her death. The woman's sister did note that over the last dozen years or so, she had been casually eating her hair, just like one strip at a time, every now and then when it hurt. Well, it added up. So if you know anybody eating hair, you know, tell them to stop, please. Hit that thumbs up for not eating hair. Number 6, bombastic.
Commercial. You got problems you eating your hair. That's gross, bro.
What is boombastic?
Gross.
Who's Mr. Boombastic? Why is he so fantastic? What does that even mean? Boombastic. Well, back in the 16th century, if you looked like a literal couch, well, that was your royalty, I guess. The bigger the belly, the bigger the arms, the bigger the everything, the better. Size really did matter. Men and women would stuff cotton, wool, even sometimes sawdust in all their crevices. They would stuff sawdust in their clothing to appear more muscular. How hilarious is that?
Wow.
It's like, hey man, we can tell. You're leaking wood. The appeal was to make it seem like you ate a lot, that you were full and whatever, right? It was so funny because while this makes sense.
Oh man, to think that like the appearance was such a thing that they like, I mean, you've heard of like, you know, chicks stuffing bras and stuff, or, you know, dudes putting shit in their pants or whatever, like, you know, like the little small typical shit. But let me just buy bigger clothes so I can stuff it with shit and act like I fill it out. Like, what?
On one hand, historically, the legs of these guys were always so tiny because they needed to walk around still. They're like, well, I'm not going to stuff my legs because I can't move. A guy the size of a minivan isn't intimidating or royal. It's actually hilarious. These poor guys, it would have been so itchy. And yeah, in case you're wondering, men would usually only stuff just one part of their trousers. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's also just false advertising, my friend. Pull that out. What do you got? What are you really hiding underneath all that hay? Number 5, paper dresses. This short-lived fad was introduced in the 1960s.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
we're gonna go a little bit recent for this one. Paper dresses. Yeah, as ridiculous as it sounds, it's kind of cool. I'd rock one. Paper dresses to go. Just don't spill anything at all or make any sudden movements, and you'll be okay. You're basically cosplaying Paper Mario at this point. Who wouldn't want to
paper mache dresses and shit? What kind of shit is that?
Not expecting the reaction that it got. It caught on pretty quickly. Fidget spinners were only 4 years ago. So again, if you want to talk smack about paper dresses, you better check yourself, my friend. It only took 6 months for this casual paper company to start selling more than 500,000 paper dresses. It went so well that other companies hopped on board and they too began making paper dresses. Over $3 million were spent on this fad. That's a lot of money.
How do you wash or clean a paper dress? Like, so, like, are they just cheap enough that, like, they're a one-time wear and you just throw them motherfuckers away and they just biodegrade and it's just, that's what it is? You go buy some more? Like what? Do you buy them in, like, packs? You know what I'm saying? Like how you do sheets of paper? Like, what? All right.
That's a lot of paper. Man. Andy Warhol was even in on the mix. It was a pretty big deal. They weren't made of flimsy printer paper also, in case you're wondering. You're like, how is this? I'm trying to imagine this.
Okay, I am.
Sound, but it certainly wasn't great. The dress was made of disposable material called Duraweave. Believe it or not, it was slightly water and fire resistant, which you wouldn't guess at first. Unlike those puffy middle-aged dresses, this was actually kind of better. It was stepping in the right direction. It's been compared to that thick paper bib that you get at the dentist. Yeah, that horrible material that you're like, oh, why is it so weirdly heavy? That's what they would wear on their entire body. We can leave that in the past.
That's terrible.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll bring it back. Let's wear paper pants. I can do paper pants.
No.
Turn those off in a minute. Number 4.
I'm good.
Weird gift. June 1941.
Do you remember those pants that had all the buttons on the legs and you could just rip them off, the basketball pants? Look, I remember those. I used to have a bunch of them.
attacking the Soviet Union, and it was one of the biggest attacks in history, and Britain and US had to send in weapons, supplies, anything they can get their hands on just to keep them afloat, just to keep them in the fight. They sent these supplies through the Arctic Circle. That was the only route, so obviously it was a horrible commute, seeing as it was littered with U-boats. But thankfully the British HMS Trident was there to watch the waters, and in turn the Soviets were able to fight on. So as a gift, as a thank you for what just happened, the Soviets sent the captain of the Trident, the World War II submarine, a gift. They sent them a live reindeer as a gift. They're like, here's our gift to you. It's like,
a reindeer?
Okay.
What am I gonna do with a goddamn reindeer?
We love them. And the British had to accept because it was ill-mannered if they didn't. You can't just turn away a reindeer and be like, no thank you, boop, go back home. So they had to keep a 6-foot-tall live reindeer on a submarine, and her name was Pollyanna. They brought her on board through a torpedo tube, squeezed a little way through. She was a crew member for 6 weeks also. It wasn't like a haha, thank you, and then a day later they're like, okay, get her out of here. No, 6 weeks with a live animal under the sea. But she slept better than most, I'm not gonna lie. She shared a room in the captain's quarters, so not bad. Imagine the smell. Sweet dreams. Number 3.
That's crazy.
Roller skates. This one they worked on for a long time. Honestly, I can see it coming back in sometime soon. Maybe.
Motorized roller skates? That sounds dangerous as hell.
This photo here was taken at the Sunoco station in Hartford, Connecticut. Context aside, this is an odd one. A guy with a briefcase is filling up at the gas station and he's wearing roller skates. That man is Mike Dreschler. The year was 1956, not last week, and the Motorized Roller Skate Company of Detroit really thought they were onto something.
Yeah,
it only
no.
cost around
Skates are already dangerous enough. You want to add motors to it?
2,400.
What's wrong with you?
Its max speed was 17 miles an hour, so not ideal. Now, obviously, this isn't a great idea. The image alone of the man pouring gasoline into like a guy's backpack, that just says red flags alone, that image.
Right.
The biggest problem here, though, aside from the, the everything about it, was that they couldn't figure out brakes. Yeah, they got this far and they're like, all right, ready? Let's do it. How do I stop, though? Like I said, I'll take Heelys over these any day. Number 2.
Ain't that like a major component and like aspect of any sort of motorized anything is stopping? I mean, anything with wheels on it, gotta have a motor on it, like bikes, even your regular rollerblades, like they all got brakes, And if you take your brakes off of your bikes or your rollerblades or whatever, like you are probably skilled enough to know how to stop without, needing brakes. But again, you're probably not going so fast that you couldn't find a way to safely stop. So yeah, whatever. Some people's children.
Naval battles. Okay, so recently I was talking about these Aquaman gladiators with the nets and the tridents and how they throw the net on you and poke you in the Coliseum. That's absolutely insane. That's one of my favorite parts of history, all that Coliseum stuff. But have you also heard about the staged naval battles that would happen? What a spectacle this would have been. The Coliseum was flooded, which I'm sure took a hot minute, and then these ships would come out and it would be like medieval times almost, but with a splash zone. These ships were designed to resemble vessels from famous battles previously, but the bottom of the ship, of course, was flat, seeing as the water in the Coliseum was only 5 feet deep. So obviously they couldn't use real ships. And it wasn't always violent reenactments either, in case you're wondering.
Okay, word. Well, that would be kind of interesting to see, actually.
Sometimes they would fill the Coliseum and nude synchronized swimmers would come out and just be like, what a change of pace that would be than like a guy getting thrown into like a lion's mouth. You know what I mean? Nothing like an in-ground pool filled with gladiator bones. Nice. Goggles weren't invented until the 14th century either, so they just went in. They're like, that's so gross. 5 feet of yuck water. These naval stories were doing so well that Emperor Domitian devoted an entire lake to them. Yeah, it was just like Goblet of Fire. People would walk to a lake to watch this insane live performance. How beautiful is that? And then once the shows moved over there permanently, they used the Coliseum's old flooded gates to, hide animals in it and rip people apart and all that horrible stuff. We love upgrades.
That's crazy.
And finally, coming
in
number 1.
Multi-purpose situation.
I looked at the sky everywhere for this thing, but I could not see it.
For our sports team sometimes.
I left my house at 4 a.m. and looked up like I was in medieval times and I was trying to make a wish. I'm like, do you see it, Father? Where is it? Is it over yonder? I'm like, what am I doing? It's 4 a.m. I have to work in the morning. Why am I out here? If you were able to see the comet Neowise with your own eyes, don't consider yourself pretty lucky. It's never going to come back. If you missed it, totally gone, forever. When the Hubble telescope took a glance at the passing comet in August 2020, even though it's 27 million miles away, NASA still learned a few things. The cloud of dust and gas that follows behind Neowise has never been seen this close before, so it was actually a great chance to study some, science stuff. as well as make a few wishes as well, of course. Comets are already fragments from our past, so these icy leftovers from when the solar system was first formed, obviously this is key to finding out new information. It's on its way back to the outer solar system, but next time we'll see it with our own eyes. Just kidding, it's not back for 7,000 years. You missed it for good. So did I. I'm still so upset about it, honestly. Did you see it? Comment down below.
I didn't see it.
Comment what you made a wish about too. I'm pissed. Those are the top 10 bizarre things you only see once in your life.
Yeah, that's just what it is. So, yeah, those are a bunch of interesting ones. There's definitely a lot of weird little fashion trends and things that like people have tried to do in the past. That's like, yeah, I don't know where he was trying to get with that one there, you know. Yeah, I don't know. But y'all let me know what y'all favorite one off this list was, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.